is it? Is it the team? Is it management? Is it the coaches? Or is it one Jay Cutler? The latter would be what most people would say. Cutler posted a 6.8 QBR, 17 of 31, 194 yards, 3 picks. The Bears' offense did not exist in their 31-15 loss to the Saints.
You blame the fans here for being upset at halftime?
I'd be pissed off too. I am pissed off. I play here. I'm pissed off. I want to win. That's what this is about. It's not about moral victories. It's about winning football games, and we're not winning. So they should be mad.
The Chicago Tribune agrees. Make it stop is the headline. All eyes are back on the man under center. Will they keep him? Will they let him go? According to our Adam Schefter, the Bears could save $12.5 million against the cap if they trade Cutler this season. But any team willing to trade for Cutler will need to take on $16 million worth of guarantees in the 2016 season. So here's the question, Stephen A. What, in fact, should the Bears do with Cutler?
They should get rid of Jay Cutler now.
How?
Cut him. The Chicago Bears. Let me explain. The Chicago Bears right now are worth $1.7 billion. Last time I checked, and it's something that we'll get into for a different reason later on in the show, when you look at the collective bargaining agreement that exists within the National Football League, what you have, Skip, is something unlike that doesn't exist in any other sport. A hard salary cap with a 10-year agreement. Why do you think the NFL makes the money that it makes? Because it can provide its sponsors, its advertisers, etc., cost certainty. We know how much it's going to cost us, and we know the product isn't going anywhere because we're locked into a 10-year deal. So when you know that you're making that kind of money and you're already worth hand over foot, $1.7 billion, you look at Jay Cutler, who, by the way, I don't know if y'all know this, he's the highest paid offensive player in the NFL. Let me repeat that. Jay Cutler, the sorry, pathetic, disgraceful quarterback that he is as a leader, I'm talking about, because we all know he's got ability. He can throw the football. He's got athleticism. He's got toughness. Have you ever heard of somebody being that tough with those intangibles and still stinks? That's Jay Cutler, because of his inability to lead, to galvanize anybody, to inspire anybody to be the best that they can be. When you are a quarterback, this is the kind of tools that you're supposed to have. Ask Tom Brady. So when I look at it and I see that Jay Cutler is the highest paid offensive player in the NFL, highest, at $22.5 million. That mere fact alone, if I'm the ownership of the Chicago Bears, who's the GM? I want him going. I want him going now. How did this happen? Who was the idiot that did this? Because this man does not deserve this money. He doesn't deserve this money because he is inefficient, he is unproductive, and more importantly than anything else, he's uninspiring. He like sucks the life out of people. He's like a tick. You understand what I'm saying? He just sucks the life out of people because he gives you absolutely positively nothing. I'm going to repeat this. And to me, this is one of my most profound statements. I have never seen Jay Cutler smile but one time, and that's when he signed this contract. That's it. That's it. That tells me all I need to know. The only time I see you happy is when you sign this contract. Really? So guess what I stole and got away with it? I stole this money from the Chicago Bears. This is the second city. Chicago is a great sports town who is far deserving, more deserving than what they're getting here. And that freezing temperature, I try not to show up between November and April in Chicago because it's so damn cold. These people come out to the stadium to watch this dude play, and he would stick up the joint the way that he does with Brandon Marshall, with Alshon Jeffrey, with Martellus Bennett, with Matt Forte. And let me also say this, because it needs to be said. We have great people working at this network. And I'm not going to mention any names.
No.
But if I hear one more person talk to me about how great of a coach Mark Trestman is, I'm going to lose it. Let me tell you why. You're ranked 32 defensively. You sold your soul This is Chicago. These are the Bears with Butkus and Ditka and Singletary and Dent and the crew. These are the Bears, and you have no defense worth speaking of, and everybody acts like Trustman has nothing to do with that. You're the head coach. I know you know X's and O's. I know you're intelligent about the game of football, but you are unproductive on defense. You're non-existent on defense. And on offense, the very thing that you were supposed to do, you can't do because you can't get this pathetic disgrace and excuse for a quarterback in line. Jay Cutler should be arrested today for thievery, for robbing the Chicago Bears of this money, or the GM should be fired for being an idiot and giving it to him. Well, this dude is awful, awful. And as far as I'm concerned, if they said here right here, Jay Cutler's contract assures $15.5 million for next season. It does. And if he is on the roster on the third day of 2015, of the 2015 league year, which will come in March, he gets all. A $10 million guarantee for 2016 kicks in. So in other words, if you don't cut him, not only are you obligated to give him $15.5 million next season, Skip, the $10 million kicks in for 2016. You shouldn't want him today. How in God's name can you commit to him for 2016? And combined with the $15.5 million for next year and the $10 million guarantee for 2016, that is $25.5 million.
And the 22 he's making this year.
Well, you can't do anything about this year. But the $25.5 million after this year, you've got to be. Boy, that man would be out of town quicker than he could say Jay. Quicker than he could say Jay.
Why was Mark Trestman hired in the first place?
Supposedly for offense.
His reputation, according to Steve Young, who played for him, with him, quarterback whisperer. This is the man who can solve Jay Cutler. And it didn't happen. So far, Jay Cutler 10-15 under Mark Trestman. So I go back to Jay Cutler's junior year at my school, Vanderbilt University, when on an old show, this used to be called Cold Pizza.
Yes.
I used to come in week after week and say, you guys, you're missing, you got to start watching these Vanderbilt games because this guy is special. And they laughed, and they laughed, and they, Vanderbilt quarterback is fine. Trust me, he's big, he's strong, he'll run over linebackers, and he has a cannon. And he was the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. And Mike Shanahan, you still have respect for Mike Shanahan. Yes, you know what he did with Robert the first year, Robert Griffin. He was the Offensive Rookie of the Year, right? Mike Shanahan traded up in the first round all the way up to, I think it was 11, to take Jay Cutler in Denver.
Yes.
And right away, Jay had some big games. He always has big games. In his career, he's thrown 183 touchdown passes to 130 interceptions. Now, the 183, those don't grow on trees. If the Chicago Bears had said a year ago, Jay, we're done. Sorry, hit the market. God bless. Do you know how many teams would have lined up for Jay Cutler? 12 teams would have lined up to bid for Jay Cutler. He's the biggest tease maybe in the history of the National Football League. Because just this year, do you remember week 2? Remember a Sunday night game at San Francisco when we thought the 49ers were something? Yeah. They had just beaten the my Cowboys in the opener at Jerry World. Yep. Remember that? Second half, Jay Cutler threw 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions, and they won the game in a big upset, 28-20 at San Francisco in that new park in Santa Clara. And then remember the game at Atlanta? Jay Cutler threw for 381, no interceptions, and they upset at that point the Falcons in Atlanta. Well, you'd say, that guy looked like, he looked like a top 10 quarterback that day. Even against my Dallas Cowboys in that Thursday night game, his QBR, Jay Cutler in that game was 92. That's on a scale of 0 to 100. That's really high. And yet they fell behind 35-7 in that game. So, you all right?
Yeah, no. Okay. Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is this. Skip, you've been covering the NFL for many, many years. I don't know too many people that know the NFL better than you. And you got to understand something. You got to take your own advice into consideration. Okay. It's not just about the ability. It's about your ability to lead, to galvanize the troops around you. I
totally agree with everything you just said. And I don't know if you remember. I went way out on a limb as a Vanderbilt graduate. He's a fellow Vanderbilt alum. After that San Francisco game, I wrote a piece the next week for ESPN.com, and I said, I'm done. I'm done with Jay Cutler. Even after that game, because of everything you just said. He's never going to live up to his ability, his capability.
Yes.
So right now, I don't know that you can just flat out cut him. You got to put him on the market. You got